Berlin 2020. Decades of calamities following the nuclear disaster of the Cold War have devastated the known world, forcing civilization to take refuge underground. After years spent in quarantine, humanity emerges, driven by the development of the new technology, the Phoenix Project. The challenge now consists of constructing regenerators capable of producing new habitats and restoring cities from the ruins. Over the course of 4 rounds, players lead factions of commanders and settlers. They must re-inhabit the land, build regenerators and buildings, advance the population track, raise the energy level, and fulfill missions. The main resource in the game is fuel. Depending on the number of players, choose the appropriate side of the main board and the task panel. The third, yellow region on the board game is only available when playing with 4 players. Therefore, when playing with 3, cover it with the black and yellow tape and road signs. At the start of the game, players choose a pair of starting floppy disk and a level 1 mission card. In reverse turn order, the orange player is the first to take a mission card and receives the resources marked on the disk token. In this case, he places his first small bronze regenerator on the board but doesn't receive a placement bonus for it. He immediately increases the electrification level. Additionally, he receives his first fuel canister. All actions in the game are activated on the task panel. For each game, the tasks will be arranged in a random configuration, and some of them will be unavailable when playing with 1 or 2 players. Each player has 3 commanders in their disposal, one of whom is their commander leader. On their turn, players must perform one of main action. Perform a task on the current level of the control panel, promote commander, or pass, usually when all commanders are already on tasks, such as build regenerator. To do this, a player chooses one of the available regenerators, places it on empty space on the main board, and receives the corresponding reward. He or she also gets an additional bonus if she is the first to build regenerators in adjacent territories. Then, by flipping it, she reduces the bonus for the other players who will do this later in the game. Another task performed by the orange player is to build a building. To do this, a player chooses one of the available building disks on their player board. The energy track level raises by building regenerators, determines which buildings and regenerators are available, and then places it on any empty space under the already built regenerator. If the building is associated with another player's regenerator, that player once more receives the reward. If 2 adjacent slots on the task panel are occupied, the player can perform the task on the next level. In this situation, the purple player advances on the population track twice, receiving bonuses on the spaces passed. In this case, she can promote one of her commanders for free. Advancing further on this track, she will be able to draw new mission cards and increase the building points multipliers. She also has the opportunity to unlock a settler to place them either at the bottom of this track or on one of the scoring intercoms on the main board. Buildings can score a lot of points if multiplied properly. The purple player increases the house multiplier as she already built 2 houses. There are 3 types of buildings in the game: housing, laboratories, and military bases. Further increasing the population, players get even more powerful bonuses. For example, score one type of building once. At the end, they can reach one of the 3 final scoring intercoms. And finally, by gaining gears, players will be able to advance on one of 2 development tracks on their player board, receiving instant bonuses for this, increasing their income at the end of the round. and also having the opportunity to earn additional points at the end of the game. Instead of performing tasks on the current level of the task panel, commanders in the rest area can be promoted by moving them up 1 or 2 levels. By spending additional fuel, commanders can immediately perform the action on their new level. The commander leaders are promoted in a similar way, but they don't pay the cost for the fast promotion. Therefore, they can complete the task in the same turn they were promoted without paying for it. On the next levels of control panel, players will have access to improved basic actions, as well as the opportunity to get technology cartridges. Level 2 cartridges provide a one-time bonus, for example, advancing on a population track. In addition, players insert the received cartridges into the bottom of their player boards, also receive a bonus indicated above the slot. Upon reaching the last level, on the task panel, players' commanders will be able to perform the most effective tasks. In addition, if a settler is waiting above the task panel, the player can place it on the corresponding scoring intercom. But that's not all. After performing the task, the player's commander becomes energized and moves to the rest area on the lower level, ready for new orders in the same round. In addition, players can complete one personal and one public objective on their turn, either before or after their main action, including passing. All of these missions are related to fulfilling the conditions for building different types of buildings and regenerators on the board. By completing a public objective, they get victory points and fuel, and then remove the corresponding blueprint token from the game. When scoring more than 100 points, flip the scoring token to the other side. By completing personal missions, players get an immediate extra action. Successfully fulfilling the objectives is the key to victory, as every mission card provides players with additional actions during the game. Well, look what we have here. Mission complete. In each game, 9 intercom tokens will be used for final scoring. By assigning settlers to them, players will score points for residential buildings, for bronze regenerators, for regenerators built in the red state, for completed missions, or simply victory points without additional conditions. As for the mission cards, they count the types of buildings built on the board. Level 3 cards give more substantial bonuses, for example, the ability to build a building under the bronze or silver regenerator for free. Finally, level 2 cartridges give small one-time and permanent bonuses. Level 3 cartridges give one-time but larger rewards. And level 4 cartridges provide new final scoring criteria, such as additional points for completed missions. At the end of each round, you need to advance the round marker, receive fuel income, and refresh the mission market by discarding the rightmost one. Then update the turn order, starting with the last player receiving fuel compensation. Finally, place all your commanders in the rest areas of the levels and the sections where they were completing their tasks in the previous round. Before the fourth round, replace all missions with level 3 mission cards. After the final round, players receive points according to the scoring criteria on their intercoms with assigned settlers for each type of building multiplied by the level of the corresponding multiplier for the achieved levels of the energy and development tracks, and finally for their level 4 technology cartridges. The game uses incredibly stylish illustrations that immerse players in a cartoon post-apocalyptic world. From a component perspective, the only problem is the color of the blue wooden pieces. The game Phoenix New Horizon was the main impression from the last year's Essenspiel, and on par with Arx became our favorite game of the last year, making it into our list of the 20 most loved games of all time. We believe the game is undeservedly overlooked. While it lacks asymmetric faction abilities, the variety here achieved by following different strategies and tactical competition between players. The task panel in the game is a pinnacle of the evolution of the worker placement mechanic in board games. The heart, brain, and the most interesting part of it. Perhaps the only and main drawback of the game is that we do not recommend playing it with 4 players. The problem is that when the third yellow region is unlocked, half a deck of mission cards with the requirements to build buildings in that region is added to the mission deck. As a result, fulfilling missions becomes a much more difficult and random task.